Alright, this video I'm gonna talk about joining tournaments to market the school and my thoughts on that. I read an article that a student shared with me, and the article, his former teacher was saying how his reasonings behind going into tournaments was to basically promote the Chinese martial arts and promoting the school. And when I thought about it, I was like, that makes sense for back then, you know, because even when Bruce Lee was alive, notice that we didn't nearly have the amount of technology that we have today, and Bruce Lee, he went to the tournaments to, basically make demonstrations. He never competed in them, but he would demo, the things that he could do, like the 2-finger push-up, the 1-inch punch, like he would be demonstrating certain things at the tournaments, and the tournaments would bring together like karate people and just a bunch of people that practice martial arts, and it was like their way of, it was like the martial arts community way of coming together, to know about each other, and in a way to market. But today, the times are different, and I feel that tournaments are not really as necessary, or not just not necessary, but I don't feel that tournaments should even be here. I feel that today, now there's technology like, with the email, and flyers, that they had in the past, but then in particularly like the internet changes the dynamics like dramatically. It's um, like rather than going to tournaments to market the school, you simply just market through the internet. Create videos, post videos. And Bruce Lee didn't have to gain his respect, much from the tournaments. He basically went into the movie industry, but he did get a lot of respect from doing some demos at the tournaments, but they only found out about that mainly after he got into Hollywood. But basically what I'm saying is that, like, it's not really necessary to be in tournaments anymore when you have the internet, such as YouTube and other forms of, video sharing sites out there like Facebook. Like, you can make a video to market your school and to show the audience like what you do, and it becomes like your commercial. So like, almost like, to me, a tournament is almost like having, it's almost similar to like having a garage sale, opposed to just like posting something on Craigslist to sell, which is just more efficient. Like, there's so many different ways to find clients and students through like online marketing, and tournaments is not really highlighting, the spirituality in the martial arts. Is basically making martial arts schools work against each other and try to basically, in almost like a direct way of fighting for customers. It's like, I liken it to like having restaurants where you don't need to have like to enter a competition to have a taste test between like restaurants, but you just, the word of mouth of the food from the restaurant just gets around, and then people will visit your restaurant to try it out for themselves to see if they like it. you know and I mean, it just got me to think about that. you know that times now is just completely different than Bruce Lee's times, and so many things have changed. you know and I could understand, like, in the time where there's no internet, where people might go to these tournaments to, you know, to advertise their school and to show, what their school does, and, highlight the abilities, skill sets of their students. And I mean, I could understand that, to a certain extent, you know, depending on like how, what is the competition. I mean, if you're talking about just forms, demonstrations, then that's one thing. But if you're actually having like people hurt each other in very unsafe ways of sparring, then that's an entirely different thing. And I understand like having a Chinese New Year's parade and going to the parade to promote the school by doing lion dancing and, do some forms demos and maybe some demos amongst students, I could understand that. But putting students of one school against students of another school and having them fight, that to me is something that I don't really agree to, because you're basically directly fighting for the customer's respect, and somebody's gonna come out losing, and then somebody's gonna come out on the losing end where they lose respect and they will be humiliated or embarrassed, and their business will suffer. It's like a direct competition amongst rival businesses. It's just the difference with rival businesses is just it's not physically violent. If Burger King and McDonald's want to fight for customers, they're fighting for customers through marketing and advertising, through speaking about how great their product is over their competition. But it's not like a direct physical confrontation, and that's the problem with the martial arts. Is like, if you're gonna have students of one school physically fight students of another school, I mean, what difference is that compared to like what gangs do? Gangs are violent towards one another. And we always speak against gang violence. This type of physical violence. Like shootings and killings and all that. But when you got two martial arts schools that are directly fighting physically to gain respect, from customers or things like that, I just don't agree to that, at all. But if you have like, basically almost like a talent show where you got, students on stage performing their routine or whatever the case may be, and then the next school has their students on stage performing their routine, then I could understand that. Then I could understand that being used as a marketing strategy, strategy to promote the school. I can understand that. It's almost like the American Idol, where you got one person performing and then the next person performs, and then people judge to see what they like more. I could understand that, if people want to do that to promote their schools. But I do not understand, and what I do not agree to is like, schools directly physically beating each other in order to gain the respect of whatever customer or audience. And those are specifically the things that I disagree to when it comes to tournaments. But just tournaments in general, I don't like them. But I do understand the importance of marketing and advertising and getting your name out there and getting people to, join your school, because without people joining your school, then your business is going to go out of business. So, but I prefer and I recommend to go towards the regular business ways of creating like commercials or, videos to market the school and then sharing the videos. That just makes more sense. Like where a school makes a video, marketing the school, talking about the school, showing what the students are doing, what they're training in, and then making like a promotional video that gets shared on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and all these social media sites, and then, it ends up attracting a lot of attention, and it ends up getting thousands of views or millions of views, and then the school ends up becoming well known. That's the modern technological way of marketing a school, or any business for that matter. There's really no need for schools to come in direct competition with other schools and physically fight each other, fighting for customers. Just basically like, it just shows the greediness of certain schools or certain school owners of, just like, and that goes against the spirit of the martial arts. I feel that a real martial arts school, or like a real martial artist, or somebody that's like truly humble in their teachings, they will let the students come to them. They'll do their marketing, their advertising, but it's not going to be like such a direct, like aggressive approach towards attacking other schools in which to get people to join their school. It's more like, hey, we're a martial arts school, we're available, we're open to the public. People could come here to learn. This is what we do. This is what we believe in. These are our values. This is what we practice. And if people join, then great. If people don't join, and then the school is being in jeopardy of closing down, then the martial arts teacher or the school owner will basically find another way to make money in order to continue to keep the doors open. So he'll find another way of employment, maybe working part-time somewhere, or finding whatever job he can in order to generate the money to keep the doors open. And just to be patient, to let word of mouth get around, and just use social media and other ways of marketing that are practical and affordable, and just let time pass, and just build a school through patience, but I feel that this competitiveness doesn't belong in the martial arts. It really doesn't. I feel that artists are creators. Artists are innovators. Artists are people that share, share, what they know, and they want to basically not be competitive. They want to be in meditation, So, I understand the importance of marketing and advertising and getting people to know about what you do. But in the realm of the martial arts specifically, there's a certain approach and a certain way that you do it where you have to do it the right way. You can't just end up becoming a violent person or become a violent school fighting for customers to show and prove to the world and prove to the people how great you guys are at fighting. And that's another thing. It goes against the spirit of the martial arts. It's like the martial arts is supposed to teach you not to fight, to be so capable in what you do that you don't need to prove yourself. It's like somebody that has a gun, like what's to prove? He already is capable of taking a person's life. Now it's more about self-control and restraint, and like knowing, like controlling your emotions and your temper and your anger, and basically just not using the gun for unlawful purposes. It becomes a lot about self-control, and I feel that's what the martial arts is supposed to lead a person towards, like self-control. Control of one's emotions, control of one's anger, control of one's technique, and also just control of one's greed. I think a lot of people do some stupid things because of greed, and just learning how to know when enough is enough. Like when it's just kind of like, I don't need to fight for customers because I already have enough customers. It's like you don't need to take in more students than you can handle. Like basically setting a limitation in how many students that you're going to take at one time. Like just not being too greedy. And then when you're not too greedy, then there's no need to fight for customers because you already have enough customers. You're already comfortable, And I think that's a really important aspect of the martial arts, and it requires more of a spiritual development, and that's my outlook on it. I feel that a real martial arts school does not enter in the tournaments. They don't. They don't fight for customers. They're available for people to join, but they don't fight for customers. And they don't just take in anybody, they take in the right people. And like real martial arts school is not like greedy for people, greedy for more students. It's just like, the students come, they come. If they don't, then they don't. And then the martial arts school owner will find another way to make money. It's not forced. It's like the Tao. It's just if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then that's fine. It's just a different philosophy, a different mentality. It's just not so cutthroat and competitive. Like, you don't just step over people just because you can. You know, if anything, you're available, you're there, but you're not like the overly pushy salesperson who's trying to shove something down your throat or just basically force you to buy something. It's like a martial arts school is not supposed to be like a car salesman or one of those people that are trying to sell you cell phones and sell you like loans and sell you whatever they're trying to sell them. That's not what a martial arts school is supposed to be. Martial arts school is supposed to be just there. If people want to, you know, if they want to get involved, then they get involved. If they don't, then they don't. You know, that's the way that I see it. You know, to me, a martial arts school is more like a gun shop, where it's like, you don't really see commercials for gun shops. You don't see that many gun shops around. There's only going to be like a very few within your area. And they're very low key. And when people go in there, like, there's background checks. Not anybody can just buy a gun. And gun shops, people already know what the gun's for. They already know what it could do, and there's no sales pitch required. It's just there. Like, people already know what it's for. And people that want to get involved in it, then they go in there and they buy something. But you don't see people going door to door trying to sell you guns. You don't see people calling you, cold calling you, telemarketing you to try to tell you this, to tell you to get guns. Guns, you don't see commercials about guns on television. You don't see it advertised in the radio about guns. You can't even find, like, even if you go on Craigslist, they're not even allowed to sell guns on Craigslist. I mean, you have to really know what you want, what you're looking for, and you go seek out the gun shop and you buy what you want. That's, to me, how a martial arts school is. It's just like, it's there, it's available. You gotta seek out for the real schools, and you go there and learn. And it's not a place where it's like a factory of people where there's like hundreds of people going in and out like it's a gym or a boxing club. No, it's like, it's more low key, and it's not so much mass exploited out there for everybody. It's more private, and more intimate, more like connected. The teacher and the student is a close relationship. It's not just a customer, it's an actual disciple. That's the way that I see it, and people that actually own a school, it comes like their passion, their love. They do it because they love it. They don't do it because it's just a job that they're just doing it for money. No. It's like they do it because they love it, and then they work and they save money to support it. It's not their job, it's their love, it's their passion. It's different. You're just not just going to work every day 9 to 5 and can't wait to get done. No, it's like, this is what you love to do, and you're going to share that part of your life with the people that you care about, and you're going to share that part of your life with people that you connect well with. It's not just for like anybody to join. That's what I see the martial arts to be.